All right, shalom. First and foremost, Kwahala Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bahashim Kwakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone at Ruel, and salutations to the Bakim out there on the highways and byways, north and abroad, all around the world. So, pretty much, this article right here is Trump green lights call up of 1 million reserves to battle COVID-19. You know, pretty much COVID-19 is just an operational term, you know, pretty much has nothing to do with this bullshit coronavirus that they're pushing out there to the public, saying that it's a pandemic. All this is just for them to be on standby because Trump right now, what he did was he just signed the bill yesterday, for this $2 trillion stimulus package, which all that is just going to make matters even worse, because what they're doing is they're just, you know, pushing this country more into debt, because where are they getting that money from? They're getting it from the Federal Reserves, which the Federal Reserve lend them money, but they attach interest onto that money, and the U.S. debt is already pretty much way over 25 trillion. So this is just further putting more of this country into debt. And how are they going to pay that money? They have no way of paying that money back. And not only that, it's just going to furthermore devalue the dollar even more. This is what, the American people don't know. And this is why, behind the scenes, when people weren't looking or paying attention because they were too focused on this 2 trillion stimulus package. But behind the scenes, this is what he's doing. This is what Trump is doing. So let me get into this article. This is from RT News. This is Trump greenlights call up 1 million reserves to battle COVID-19. To help with the COVID-19 corona emergency, U.S. President Donald Trump signs an executive order authorizing call-ups of up to 1 million reserve military personnel in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security, which is in charge of Coast Guard's units not subordinate to the Navy, are now authorized to order individual members and units of the Ready Reserve under their jurisdictions to active duty not to exceed 24 consecutive months. Trump note in the executive order signed on Friday evening. So this is pretty much, he signed this on Friday evening, in the evening, behind the scenes, behind closed doors, The number of mobilized reserves is not to exceed 1 million members on active duty at any one time. The Pentagon and Homeland Security are supposed to ensure appropriate consultations and is undertaken with relevant state officials about using National Guard Reserve active under the order. So pretty much what he did was, actually, let me just read on more, because this is all going to tie in. The call-up is part of a fairly of presidential actions aimed against the COVID 19 outbreak on Friday, including the signing of a 2.2 trillion stimulus and relief bill, widely criticized on both sides of allies in Congress, but passed anyway and invoked the Defense Productions Act to compel automakers to produce ventilators needed to treat service coronavirus. Trump has been ridiculed to invoke the authority the part under the DPA for over a week, saying major corporations had offered to comply with federal supply requests voluntarily, only to blow up a General Motor and Ford in a series of anger tweets in the morning. So pretty much what he what Trump is doing right now, he's pretty much having the U.S. military the army, which these Marines, these special forces on standby. Why is he doing this? Here it is, you got the American people thinking that they're in good case because he's signing a $2.2 trillion stimulus package, and he's assuring that they're going to get 1,500, that every American is going to receive $1,500, from the stimulus package. But what he's not telling you is that this whole economy, this whole thing is unsustainable. And Ben Bernanke, he said this like back in 2011. The former chairman of the Federal Reserve. He even came out and said that the system is unsustainable. Now, if the system is unsustainable, it's gonna collapse. And he said this in 2011. How much more now? How much more now is things gonna go down now? How much more now? If it was unsustainable still back in 2012, going back in 2008, how much more now? You got record-breaking numbers of unemployment, 3.3 million Americans out of work. So this is we're way beyond in a Great Depression right now. So he knows what's going on behind the scenes. He knows that the stimulus package is unsustainable. He knows that by them pumping more money into the system, it's just gonna even collapse the system even faster. This is their plan, going back years ago, and we've been warning people about this for many years now. Going on 12 years now. For the head apostles, they've been warning about this for 30 plus years, over 30 plus years. And now it's here. Now prophecy is speaking. Prophecy is speaking. Prophecy is coming to pass. So let me just jump into the scripture here. So this is James chapter 1 chapter 5 verse 1. And it reads, go to now ye rich men, weep and hollow for your misery that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupt, your garments are moth-eaten. Yeah, these riches are corrupt. Your riches are corrupt. What is that talking about? The money system. This whole US dollar money system is corrupt, you know. It's not worth the paper. Gerald Salente said it best. It's not worth the paper that it's printed on. And you Americans, y'all gonna be the last people on this earth to find that out. Y'all gonna be the last people to find that out. That you've been lied to, you've been duped, you've been played, you know. So this is what it's saying. Your riches are corrupt, your garments are moth-eaten, your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days, and these are the last days that we're living in. These devils, they've been heaping treasure to themselves for the last days. Verse 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud. You see, you kept this all up by fraud, because the US dollar is nothing but a fraud, because it's not even real money, and the Lord said that you should not do any unrighteousness in weights and measures. you know the US dollar is pretty much just a piece of paper used as legal tender, because it's not backed by gold nor silver. you know this is why it's so weak, because it's not backed by real tangible money, which is gold and silver. you know so behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Because ultimately, according to the law, you're supposed to pay a man after his work is finished. When that man's work is done, that's when you pay that man. But you wait till a week, you know, or 2 weeks, or that bi-weekly pay. Then you take out all kind of taxes out of his pay. You know, this is fraud, and this is what the stimulus package is all about. Now you wanna not, tax any income taxes no more. But you've been doing this for years. So let me just jump right into Daniel's. So this is the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time Michael shall stand up, that great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. There should be a time of trouble. We're in that time of trouble right now, you know, because this economy, the stock market is going up and down. It's pretty much not functioning It's just pretty much they're just doing everything they can to manipulate the system. Because all what you see in the stock market is just pure manipulation. You know, that's not even the real numbers. And to be honest, I'm looking at the stock market right now, and it's already had crashed. The Dow Jones is the Dow Jones is pretty much negative right now. So pretty much the stock market pretty much already crashed. The Dow Jones is pretty much negative. The S&P 500 is negative, you know. So pretty much this thing had already crashed, you know. The stock market has already crashed already. And and you got 3.3 million people out of work, you know. We're in that time of trouble. These prophecies, these things are already here, you know. Prophecy is here and there's no denying it, you know. So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakwakadash. The honors to the head apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations to the Yakim out there on the highways and byways, noise in this road abroad. With that, I want to say shalom.